Ni hao. So proud that I learned that. Just a few words. Margaret and I were practicing in the car with Norma. First of all, I wanted to say thank you for having me. Really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, this is such a big thrill to be here. And I never would have dreamed it, but I'm happy to bring whatever information I have. My name is Joanie Gerber, and I'm an occupational therapist and graduated from the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio in 1984. I'm old, yeah. My practice has been almost exclusively pediatrics. I've done the other, in summers I've worked in rehab settings and stuff like that to stay current, you know, in a variety of different venues. But primarily pediatrics, and a lot of the work I've done is in consulting in schools and working as a member of the team. And so I am thrilled to see Olivia's place and the great things that are happening here. And it's just phenomenal how fast things are moving for you guys. That's incredible. And I don't mean to say that one model is better than another. I'm just wanting to present information and share with you what I found successful and thrilling, really, in terms of teaming. So anyway, let's see if I can do this here. All right, that's me. And everybody has my card, right? So if you would have any questions or want any more resources or want to collaborate on something, feel free to email me. Okay, our multidisciplinary team, we have our parent, who is the #1 team member, first and foremost. A teacher, generally, in the school setting, and I understand you have a teacher also, right? An LSSP or licensed school psychologist or diagnostician, somebody who specializes in testing, and speech pathologist. Who's our speech? You're our speech. And your name is? Ellen. Okay. And Ellen, you're from? From Germany. Ellen from Germany. Okay. Great. And an OT, and our OT is? Yeah. You're the OT. Yes, how could I forget? And remind me of your name again. Joan? Joan. Like Joan. Like me, right? Can I call you Joanie? No. And then our physical therapist, we have physical therapist. You're the physical therapist, and you're? Veronica from? Chile. Wow, a multinational team. This is great. Yes, multinational represented. And of course you have other members. If the child has a visual disability, you may have a vision teacher specialist, or an auditory problem, you may have somebody who works with the hearing impaired. So, you know, there are other members that will vary, you know, but these are kind of the core, right? Now let's talk about interdisciplinary. The team members are the same. It's the same people, same key players. What you do when you're doing interdisciplinary teaming is that you have an element of role release. You are not the PT, just the PT. You are not just the OT or the speech or the teacher or the parent. Everybody who interacts with the child, everybody who touches that child is that child's therapist. You know, your IEs, everybody. So in the interdisciplinary approach, you're identifying the child's strengths and really working with those strengths. And then at the same time, we all know about the needs, right? That's why we work with this population of kids that have special challenges. The needs often dominate, and we don't really identify those strengths oftentimes. And the best way to do that is collaboratively. Everybody has a different perspective that comes to the table. And so if your treatment plan is a collaborative effort, you could have, especially including the parents, you could have a chance of repeating a therapy multiple times throughout different settings. So if everybody's on the same page, you see how that could happen? I'll give you some examples in a few minutes. in assessment, and this was something that I valued when I first started. I guess I had been maybe 3 years into practice, and I worked at a birth to 3 clinic in Houston. And we had an OT, a PT, a speech therapist, and a social worker. And that team, we had multiple teams, but those were the core people that had a caseload. And we would do, like you have your glass, we would have the various therapists interacting with the child and the parent. And somebody, if it's too many or whatever, could be observing from the outside. You have the primary interactor who knows what these other people need because they've already talked in advance of the things that they want to see tried. You know, can they stack blocks? Don't forget the blocks, you know, or whatever. And they go in with a little checklist, and the observations come from different perspectives. But it is an interdisciplinary kind of an assessment, and identifying those strengths is really important, you know. Even if it's eye contact, even if it's just, you know, rolling over, whatever it is, that's that strength. That's what you're going to buy into and use. You can use video. Okay. You can use video as part of your assessment. That's a powerful tool. How many of you all are familiar with a flip video cam? Yeah, okay. The flip cam is an easy, I don't know that the company's kind of going through some problems. It's having some problems, but if you can snatch up those flip video cams, they are so handy. Okay, so they're available, different companies now. And you simply, it's easy, point and shoot, record, and then it has a flip out USB. I wish I'd brought mine with me. And then you just plug it into your computer, and the video's uploadable. You can share what's happening at home or in the community or in therapy if somebody wasn't able to be there, or you know, you wanted to point something out that you saw a child do, whatever. Just snippets, catching snippets, and using the video as an assessment tool is very powerful. Oftentimes, if I video my interaction, I see things when I go back and look at it that I didn't recognize at the time. So I would really recommend using the video. Now, I have a link here to an individual who uses augmentative communication. The example is a pretty extreme example. It's not really reflective of the population you're serving. This girl has cerebral palsy. But I just want you to see the potential of maybe not having the best positioning. You know, you may have to sacrifice that for communication, for function, you know, for interaction and independence. So we're going to take a look at Mackenzie.
So the terminology is multidisciplinary versus interdisciplinary?
Multidisciplinary is probably the model you're using.
Traditional.
It's traditional, right.
And the one you're talking about is
interdisciplinary, right. And you can even go as far as being transdisciplinary. You're familiar with that, yes. I have learned so much from teacher of the visually impaired, speech language pathologists, PTs, teachers, parents, that I use. You know, I'm an OT and I'm programming speech devices. That's transdisciplinary. You use whatever experience and background you have to get the needs of the kid met, you know, the child.
Have you ever been frustrated? I am a disabled teenager. My life is always filled with frustration.
This was a speech Mackenzie Kench wrote for her NCA Level 1 assessment.
I can't easily join in a conversation. It takes a while before I can type up what I want to say, and by then the conversation has moved on.
The assessors failed her because the speech wasn't delivered in her own voice. That just backs up the frustration she wrote about.
So Mackenzie, how did you feel when they said you wouldn't get the credit because you're not using your voice?
Mad because this is my voice.
Absolutely.
Mac laboured over this speech, punching out every word with her big toe. She's able to store this and other schoolwork in her TalkLink computer. Casual chat takes a long time and can be exhausting.
Good girl.
Before we came to interview Mackenzie, she asked us to email questions so she could prepare some answers.
It sounds like you're doing well at school, but I imagine you have to work a bit harder than others. What's that like?
I work longer because it just takes me physically longer to do the work. Most of the time I don't really care about the amount of time homework takes because it keeps me occupied, and I know it is going to help me in the long term.
What did people want after the war?
15-year-old Mackenzie's determined to excel in NCA this year. Mac has cerebral palsy and communicating requires incredible focus.
What else? Yep.
Disarmament.
Yeah, disarmament.
Mackenzie wants people to recognise her talents and the contribution she can make.
Communication can be frustrating for me as sometimes I am not able to voice my thoughts.
Originally awarded an excellence for her speech, that decision was later reversed because of the way the speech was delivered.
The teacher gave her an excellence, but more senior teachers decided she wouldn't get the credits for that.
So there's been a lot of toing and froing on it because I guess we have the position that, well, that is her voice. The fact it may not be able to have all of the variations of normal speech voice, that's the only way she can deliver a speech. So it seems a bit punishing to not accept that.
Mackenzie's putting that behind her now and working hard to get good grades. Besides, it's not the only difficulty she faces as a teenage girl living with a high level of disability.
It was easier to make friends at primary and intermediate school, and harder at college, because the older people are, the more they see your disability, not the person you are.
Hey, Mackenzie. Hey, Mac.
Things have improved recently, and Mac often hangs out with her group of friends at the Learning Centre.
Where's Laura?
She got booted out. She's going to that Shakespeare.
Mac gets a mobility taxi to school, but when the family go out, it's difficult to transport her in the electric wheelchair. The manual chair's lighter and easier to manoeuvre, but the TalkLink doesn't fit on it, leaving Mac literally without a voice.
Did you ever do it with the burger bit? And you had to cut up the things and put them in a big thing, like a big square.
At home, Mac and little sister Bailey enjoy the classic mix of love and sibling rivalry. When Mac's in the mood, she tolerates being used as a model.
You right? You look like a little poodle or something. But we get on really well most of the time. Like normal brothers and sisters, we like fight, but most of the time we're like pretty close, yeah.
Do you do anything to sort of help Mackenzie out sometimes?
Well, I sometimes feed her breakfast if like no one else is here to do it.
Sounds so sweet, but Mac reckons Bailey's got an agenda.
She likes helping because she gets money to buy clothes.
Is that true, Bailey?
She has over 40 tops.
She's very, very astute.
Yes, I suppose.
Picks up on things, enjoys listening and thinking about what's happening around her, and but I think she's pretty mischievous.
Yeah, she
and
sees
got
the
a
funny
very,
side
very
of
nice
most
sense
things.
of humour.
Yeah.
She's just an incredibly determined person.
Yeah. I guess she's got a competitive nature too, and that's hard to see sometimes because she can't physically do things, but certainly, she wants to outdo her older sister in her marks, and she works really hard to do that, doesn't she? And some nights she'll work from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock on homework.
Mac's computer has a huge capacity that she's constantly updating, often with cheeky one-liners.
What?
Sharp as a tack, Mac uses her voice to let Mum know she won't get away with bending the rules.